So we all in this growth trajectory make mistakes. And you and I talked ahead of time about bumps and warts. So one of my favorite questions is if you could go back and do something over again, and maybe it's more than one thing, what were some of those lessons learned that now the company, as a more mature franchise at 7 or 8 years, what were some of those things that if you could go back and have a do-over, you would change?
Well, I can think of many. And one of the simpler ones would be territory. Early on, we thought we had to use the size of a territory as a sales tool. And so we mistakenly gave away territories that were absolutely mammoth. I mean, compared to our current territory, some of these are 6, 7, 8 times our normal territory. That was a mistake, not only in giving away opportunity for us to grow as a franchise with the number of operators, but we've come to learn it was actually problematic for the owners because that was such a large population that it's almost financially infeasible to be able to market to them appropriately. It's too big of a population, and that everyone with a huge territory actually is doing less sales than franchise owners who now have a properly curated territory. So that's a simple one. The bigger piece is the people, the mindset, and the expectations. And it's really not only on the candidate side, but on the franchisor side too. We went through 3 evolutions of franchise owners that I think I can identify. The first batch were absolute wildcats. We are entrepreneurs as a family. And so we naturally sought out those who looked and act and thought just like us.
Yeah.
And those natural entrepreneurs often struggle in a franchise system. You know, somebody who's listening to this podcast, I hope as they think about franchising, they're thinking, do I appreciate systems or do I really hate being told what to do? And that may be too simplified or too negative on the franchisee-franchisor relationship, but someone who belongs in a franchise needs to appreciate and view systems and processes as a function of strength versus a limitation of personal freedoms.
Absolutely. Those are the people who are going to struggle and fail.
Right. And it's not because it's a bad system. It's because they're not likely to follow the system.
Right.
Yep. And truth be told, those early days, there wasn't much of a system. I'll be honest. Yep. Second generation. So we realized that wasn't the fit. We could see those problems over the first couple of years. And so then we had to realize we didn't know who was the right fit because we're not from the franchising industry and we didn't know who to look for yet. And so then we just kind of opened up the floodgates. And I think most early franchise owners go through this phase where if you have interest in a checkbook, come on in. And you kind of have to do that to grow, but you also have to do it to get a wide spectrum of candidates to really begin to understand who is that candidate profile that's going to fit within your system well.
Yep.
And through that, it did exactly what it was supposed to. It helped us understand who's a great fit, who's not. Unfortunately, there was some casualties in that where we let people in who were either underfunded or didn't have the right mindset. And for those, I will always be sad and hold a bit of personal guilt. Like I wish I would have known better because I could have saved everybody a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And money.